Hello everyone, welcome back to Rolling Solo. My name is Adam Smith and today I have a special unboxing for a game called Near and Far, a game by Ryan Lucat. This game originally was a Kickstarter and has just now recently started delivering to backers. I didn't ever actually end up playing Above and Below, which is the predecessor to this game, although I'm not too sure how much linkage there is between the two except for the ability to use particular components between the two. I'm not too sure on the story linkage, I guess is the better way to say it, but I do want to let you know that this is going to be an unboxing, one that I really have been looking forward to from the fact that I love adventure games. I love theme where you are exploring and stuff like that. It's always appealed to me, and this is kind of a choose-your-own-adventure style game, but you're pitted against an opponent. And you might be wondering, well, why then are you potentially showing this on a solo-specific channel? Great question. The reason is I've found a number of very good, or at least interesting solo variants on Board Game Geek for Near and Far that people have created in order to turn this game from being a one versus one or so, like that type of game, to a solo playable game where essentially the other character will be automated. And so what I'd like to do on this channel at some point in the near future is essentially attempt to have an automated character play through against us, and we as a group of solo players are going to play against that automated player, that Board Game Geek community individual who created the solo rules, who I will be giving credit to when we go ahead and punch through this playthrough in the future. But for now, this is just a straight unboxing to give you an idea of what's inside the box of Near and Far, and that is the reason why I am showing it on my channel. I do specifically focus on solo games, but I also focus on solo variants, especially ones that come from the board game community. And BGG being one of those massive networks that has great individuals who put together some amazing solo, unofficial solo variants to games. And I really think this one is one that's going to be interesting to check out. And I also think as a group of people will have fun playing it. So let's get into this. Don't want to yammer on too long, because I know when people come to see an unboxing video, they've come to see an unboxing. So let's just get right to it. So, like I said, Near and Far, this is a Red Raven game, and I'll just flip this over real quick so you can see the back before I kind of start cutting into this. But essentially, this is the back of the box. So it says, search for a lost city in a strange and wonderful world of ruins, manage and recruit adventurers, read from the book of stories, create a memorable tale, choose your path and connected quest lines, buy skills for your character. It's a 2 to 4 player game, 90 minutes. And again, like I said, it's built 2 to 4, but I am going to play a solo variant, an unofficial solo variant on this channel at some point. So let's dig into it and see what happens. And again, it even says up here, sequel to the hit game Above and Below. So let's take a look at what we get inside the box when Near and Far comes to stores. Now, as I'm understanding it currently, it's just in backers' hands, but I believe very, very soon it'll be in retail stores for pickup. So hey, if you're looking at this in terms of playing with some friends and stuff like that, it may not be a bad option, but at least I can show you what's inside the box and you can make that determination on your own. I can tell you right now, it's a fairly heavy box. I'm actually kind of surprised by how heavy it is. It's really nice though. So as you'll notice, the artwork is very, very similar to Above and Below in terms of style. He never really changed his artwork style, and that's probably a good thing. He's got a very unique look and feel to the game, which I really like in terms of style, not to the game itself. The one thing that's kind of cool is that I'll let you see, you guys can notice this, there's a little bit of a reflection there on the title, although I'm doing a terrible job of finding it. There it is. You can kind of see it's got a little bit of a sheen across the title. Looks very, very cool. So that pops on the shelf, and of course, I'm sure that's the same on the side here as well. Just can't hit that exact angle. So we'll put this up here and we'll take a look. Well, look at this. That's pretty cool looking. So we've got ourselves a book here. Not too sure what it is exactly. Again, forgive me, this is an unboxing of somebody who has never played Above and Below before. So take that with a grain of salt, and also just forgive me for messing up on anything I may explain incorrectly, because this is the first time I'm diving into a Red Raven game. So this right here, if I'm correct, is the Atlas, I believe, and this is kind of a book that allows you to see all the different lands and areas and places you can explore across the countryside. This is called the Broken Plains or the Crimson Forest. Or this one here is the Meteor Mountain, or the Toxic Desert, the Cloudy Valley, the Dried Sea, the Fire Delta, some volcanoes there, very cool. Rocktooth Isles, well, that's pretty sweet. Mammoth Jungle, and the artwork again kind of carries over, very similar to what is on the front cover. And the Last Ruin. So this is essentially like your map, your atlas of your exploration and story, and what you'll be building as you go along in this game. Very, very cool. So I'm going to put that to the side, and we'll jump to the next thing, which is the rulebook. Looks like things are fairly organized in here, actually, really well. The rulebook, not much to say more so than it is just a rulebook as per normal. It's a decently thick one. It has about, it's actually fairly thick. It's got about 39 pages or so. It looks like there's artwork kind of mixed in amongst some text. But what I do like is, even though it's 39 pages, I'm liking the way the layout is showing here. There's a lot of visual representation, which I really appreciate in rulebooks, and also not walls of text. Not too many walls of text, although here's a page that's pretty heavy. But especially at the very beginning, when you're just trying to pick it up and get an understanding of what's going on, very, very, very minor stuff, and a good thing on them for putting the game components in there. I really appreciate it when a publisher does that, or a game designer does that, ensuring that you actually know you've gotten all the components you're supposed to have. Yeah, so again, decent rulebook. Haven't read it yet, but look and feel wise, I'll give it a decent rating. And then this one here, this I know for a fact must be the story or journal book. Very cool looking book, as you can see. It's spiral, or it's bound essentially, spiral bound, and there's a lot here. I don't know everything here, and I'm not going to spoil anything, but essentially what these are is that choose your own adventure style kind of thing. So you're going to have numbers. The game will force you to certain numbers, or it's possible you'll be choosing between different alternatives. And there appears here to be, this book is 140 pages thick. There's quite a bit of text in this thing. There's a lot of variation here, I think. I think this is the kind I was kind of curious as to how much replayability a game like this would have, but judging by the thickness of the game, or this book, sorry, I think there's going to be quite a bit. And I don't think this is the kind of game you're going to be able to just master, or at least see everything very, very quickly. You have to probably play this multiple times. Again, take everything I say with a grain of salt, because I have not played it. We're moving into the token or punch boards now. So here you'll see what I understand to be a bunch of individuals. These could be NPC characters you meet along the way. They may even be characters you can be. I'm not sure. We'll check into that as we go. Looks like some coins, some gems, and some other odds and ends. Some bread, fish, those types of things. And again, the artwork staying very similar to what we saw on the box and in the rule book. So we'll go ahead and move over. And actually, these essentially are, as you can see, very, very much the same. The only differences I'm noticing is there's a few different people here, but the tokens in general for most of the mid and bottom sections are very, very similar. Some of the tokens have actually been punched out already, just because, and I like to see that actually, not necessarily that I like to see a punch board completely empty, but it just shows that they're ready to come out of their punch board without too much difficulty. So I'm not going to punch these out in front of you guys, because that'll take forever and you'll basically just cry in boredom. This right here, I don't know what this is. This looks like the town board to me. So essentially you have a dawn and you have a dusk, or something along those lines. Or daytime and a dusk. I have no idea. So this could be, this looks like it's kind of fading off into, that could be dawn for all I know. But you have this side of the board here, and then you flip it over to the alternate side, which has more of like a kind of a desert look. And you can see the sky has changed. It's clear on this side and not so much over here. Looks more like the morning, or could possibly be a sunset there. So again, this is a town board, and I'm not too familiar with what exactly is happening here. So this is just for show at this point. Moving on, we've got ourselves, oh, that's interesting. So they've handed us a bunch of baggies in a bag. So for organizational purposes, that's good to have, nice and handy. Here's the tokens, some of them that fell out. Oh, it looks like you get yourself a nice pencil. That's kind of cool. So and it's even sharpened, look at that. So although I wouldn't necessarily recommend having a sharpened pencil flying around the box without it being packaged up, but I think this was packaged well enough, at least you can tell, that things weren't moving around too much. It looks like everything's really where it probably was when it was put in the box. so I doubt this was any issue, but it's cool to get an actual wood pencil inside the game box. That's something that you usually don't see. Again, just a gigantic sack bag. I'm assuming this is for tokens because it's fairly large. Putting dice in this would be ridiculous. So this is probably a token bag from what I'm understanding. You get a bunch of wooden tokens. So I'm not going to go through these because I would be a fool to try and do that. As some of you guys who are familiar with this game or maybe are waiting for it as well would know more about potentially what these actually stand for, but they could be just per character. There could be something to do with what's given per player, something along those lines, because there's different colors and they're all the same. So I'm going to go ahead and say they're probably something to do with player element. Oh, that's cool. So we get some gems. There's some actual legitimate gems. Let me take some of those out of the bag. So I think these look really cool. Oh, wow, those are really nice. So those have a really nice shine to it. Look at that. It almost looks like you've basically found some some treasure and stuff. That's really cool. I like that. I'm a big fan of when a game goes a little bit above and beyond on the components, because I find sometimes I look at the components of the game that I've unboxed and I end up going to a store to upgrade them because they're not that great. Like these in some games would have been a flat bead and that's it. It would have been a red bead and that would have been all it was, but you could see that they're all cut kind of in a diamond or almost a rose cut really, although these are just plastic silly kind of trinkets, but they obviously can reflect light because even in this plastic bag they're quite reflective. So that's really cool. I appreciate that. You get some standees, so nothing really fancy about that, just standard standees. Some more pieces that popped out, so I'm going to move those out of the box. We're going to get into some cards here, but we'll do the dice first. Looks like these are just regular dice. They actually have a little bit of flavor to them. So they're very, oh, that's cool. So at least they're not just kind of like, hey, here's some black D6s. They've got a little bit of style to them, just to kind of like, make them look a little cool. Almost make them look like a war-torn, not a war-torn, but a kind of a roughed up dice. Those are cool. I like those. I'm okay with those. So moving on to, what do we got here? So it looks like a scorecard. Yeah, it looks like a score pad sheet for your characters. So again, multiple copies of the same thing, but and I'm not too familiar with this, but it's got your character name, your campaign, your character. You can log stuff, right? Your side quests and everything. So that's really cool. It looks like they gave it a decent amount of them. They didn't chintz out and only give you like 3 or 4 pages. Lots of games do that, which I really don't like. They'll have a game like this will have lots of exploring and lots of things you have to keep track of, but they'll end up putting like 3 pages in the box and you end up having to go to like your nearest office store in order to create multiple copies or maybe laminate it in order to somehow try to make those last. So it's nice to see somebody giving you a decent amount. In terms of cards, it's going to be rough because I really don't understand the game just yet, although I guarantee you I will very quickly. But I can tell just from the back here that these have to be item or treasure cards. My assumption is they're probably items, at least for a portion of this deck. And then it looks like at the bottom the color changes. So it looks like these are enemies, I'd assume, on the very bottom. So maybe a good chunk of it is treasure, and then the rest is kind of enemy cards. So while I'm here and we're looking at it, we might as well just pop a couple card things open just to see what they look like and what they are. Because I don't want to just show you a bunch of cards in plastic. That's not exactly the most fun thing to look at. So here we go. What do we got? So we got some bandits, some warriors. Yeah, these are some enemies, essentially, I'm assuming you can run into in the game. Some beasts and stuff like that. An ancient robot. That's kind of cool. Yeah, so it looks like these are kind of itemish things like bounties and slingshots and fishing poles. And, ooh, that's kind of cool. I don't know if that's one of the major guys. You got an old shovel. We got cider cask, canvas tent. I'm not going to go through every single thing here, but it looks like in amongst all these things you've got, this could be, I don't know, I think these are, they look like they're specific to a scenario, so possibly like a guy could show up and you have to fight him like he's an enemy essentially. But again, more and more of this stuff. I don't want to spoil anything, so I'll just kind of rip through that fast, but it looks like it's just kind of a combination of items and enemies and whatnot. We've got another deck here that just has this on it, which doesn't really tell us much. On the other side, it says Mysterious Cave. Yeah, it says Mysterious Cave, search. Sorry, it's not focusing really well. Search Skull 10 Camp. I'm not too sure what that is. I don't know how that one works. That'll probably be more explained in the rule book because I'm not going to bother trying to pretend I know what that is. But let's crack it open and see what it looks like. Sometimes these little plastic bag things can be extremely painful to not only get off your finger, but to just get into in the first place, especially the small mini cards. I like the little mini cards. Some people hate them with a passion, but I don't mind them. But sometimes they're a real pain to get out of the bags. So these look like something that potentially could be like a gigantic encounter deck, I'm guessing. It looks like something that's probably randomized, and you flip it over and you likely pull it when you're doing an encounter randomly or something like that. That would be my guess, right? You guys can let me know in the comments if I'm throwing everything sideways here. This deck here looks like it relates to the Atlas book that we looked at earlier, because it has the exact same kind of symbol or logo and etching on the front. So I imagine this is going to tie to different locations potentially, but it also, I don't know, those look like ruins possibly, like you're finding different artifacts in ruins, so that's going to be my guess as to what I'm looking at right now. And again, in the comments and stuff like that, you can let me know that I've lost my mind and I'm not correct. That's fine. So you get a deck of these. I think these really are, I'm almost positive these are some type of ancient thing. Oh, cool. So you get yourself some hammers. So these are maybe a mix of different items and things that you can gain throughout the game. Maybe things you can build, storm sword. Like, that's some pretty cool stuff. And again, don't want to spoil everything. There's cloaks in there and burning skin and gilded armors, pirates, staffs, all kinds of crazy stuff. Again, without knowing too much with the rules, they don't mean too much to me. This, on the other hand, looks like character-based information. So this is going to be like you pick your character or potentially characters, because this game, I believe, has you building more than just one character, although you may have one main character. I imagine you have many, many allies or workers working for you, helping you out on your journeys as you explore the world. And I think, if I'm correct, I could be wrong again, these are supposed to be a way of tracking that. So I'm not 100% sure, but these have a different feel. These feel like paper to me, or some type of weird cardboard. I could see people looking at these and going, oh my gosh, I gotta use a pencil on this, I don't want to ruin it. My only suggestion for that would be, if this is going to work, this is essentially feels like what you'd use the pencil for in order to fill in all this kind of information as you go for your characters. There's maps and there's keywords and stuff like that. My only thing with that is you could potentially laminate them. I guess if you owned a laminator, that would be easier and probably less expensive. If you take that to a place, local office supply shop, they'll probably charge you up to nines to make that. And then the question would be, how much is that really worth it in this game? I don't really know whether or not it's worth it to laminate them. This is the last deck right here, and it looks like it actually has very similar art to what's on the front box. Actually, it's pretty much exactly the same. This is the last deck of cards that I'm aware of, so I'm going to rip this one open, and we'll see what's in this one. Let's see here. Now, the one thing that is missing from this, guys, just so you're aware, is the metal coins. Now, for the part of the Kickstarter from Near and Far, metal coins were given instead of the coins, which I believe you're seeing kind of in the middle there, those gold ones right there across the middle. Those ones are the tokens or the coins that are just for a retail copy, but if you purchase the Kickstarter copy and are waiting for it, gold coins, their coins are coming along with it. However, I'm in Canada, and from what I've heard recently, rumor-wise, is that Canada got a little bit shafted, and the gold coins apparently weren't part of the shipment. So I believe Red Raven is making it right by sending those out separately. So they were either missed or they weren't done in time or something along those lines, but they are coming. They just won't be part of this unboxing. And at the end of the day, most people that are buying this are buying retail. You don't get metal coins in the retail version, kind of similar to Scythe. Or Scythe, I always call it Scythe, that's terrible. Yeah, so it's some, the cool thing with this game is if you missed it on Kickstarter, you're really not missing out on much, and I like that. I like being able to purchase a game after a Kickstarter has ended and still get just as much enjoyment out of it without having to run around with my head cut off trying to find every piece that I missed out on from a Kickstarter. So I do appreciate the fact there wasn't that many exclusives with this game besides the coins and I think a binded quest book. That kind of ties itself to Above and Below, but besides that, I don't think there was too much else that isn't in the box for retail. So again, here's some more things. These could be items, so we've got like mercenary contracts, cookbooks, shadow bracelet, iron hound Nightmare amulets. There's all kinds of things. I'm not going to go through all of them because that would be spoiling things. You got even like bots and bows and spyglasses, all kinds of cool stuff. This looks more like the item deck than what I told you earlier. And then these right here, I'm assuming, are player boards because you can't play unless you got a player board. But I really like the style of these things. It gives you that feel like you're on this journey. Here's your backpack. You got your book. I'm assuming you're tracking your health here. Not too sure about this, but this could have something to do with your production or what you've built and all that kind of stuff. Your items probably sit here. You got some gold trackers as well as you got some jewel trackers there. Not too sure what they involve, but we were going to find out. And of course, there's 4 of them, and they're all the same. There's no difference. And if you flip them over on the back, they just share the exact same artwork, which seems to be prevalent really across the game, all over the place. The front cover, the inside of the box, even the back of these player boards all have the same art, something that they obviously want you to see because they've done it 3-4 times over. Very cool. I don't know what to say because I can't say that I enjoy the game or don't enjoy the game, but I will tell you that in terms of my channel, I am going to be playing this game with a unofficial solo variant in the future here. This may get pushed a little bit further out because we have other games on the shelf right now, like Too Many Bones is still going. We've got Gloom of Kill for it. There's other things on the go. This will definitely get in the queue. If and when we get to this, which we will, because I do want to play this, I will be involving the community heavily in my decisions on this journey. So we're going to go through this journey together, and I'll be getting your feedback on like where we should go, what we should do, just like when we're playing Too Many Bones. So I really think you guys will dig in and love it. So yeah, that's essentially it. That's the entire near and far box opened for you to see. So if this piqued your interest and you're interested in the game, check it out in your local retail store. Unless you're expecting a Kickstarter box at your doorstep in the near future, then that's always a good thing. In terms of anything else, I think we've covered it all. So again, in the comments below, let me know if you see an interest in me playing this solo through the unofficial variant that's on Board Game Geek. Let me know if you think that this would be fun to play through and you'd like to be a part of it and you'd join in and like to follow it, kind of like the Too Many Bones thing we're doing right now. Let me know, because if I get enough interest in these things, I can put priority on certain games, knowing that this solo community here on the channel wants to see certain ones. So let me know, and we'll see what we can do. So thanks again for watching. Appreciate it as always. If you haven't subscribed to the channel and this is your first time checking out Rolling Solo, I hope you felt welcome, and please subscribe for future videos. And until next time, everyone, keep on rolling solo.